Welcome, everybody, to our Marin Interfaith Council monthly meditation. We're so glad that you have joined us tonight. Tonight, we are blessed to have with us Sonja Gardenswartz, who is joining us from Green Gulch Farm and Zen Center, and want to share a little bit about her meditation. In relationship to the times and family that Sonja was born into, she witnessed the suffering that comes from seeing ourselves as separate and others as separate from us. She became interested in the understanding of suffering, the causes, and the way of healing. What does it mean to be part of change in the world and how we might engage with it? She practiced and studied in different fields and finally came to be introduced to Zen meditation practice in 1981, coming to the San Francisco Zen Center in 91, and since then has practiced continually at Green Gulch Farm and Tassajara Zen Mountain Center. During her 11 years at Tassajara, she practiced as work leader, Shika, guest host, Tenzo, head cook. She received precepts in 1995 and was Shuso head student at Tassajara in 2003. Since returning to Green Gulch, she's been Tenzo guest student manager and currently the assistant to the director and the senior Dharma teacher, Tenshin Reb Anderson. She was ordained as a Sōtō Zen priest by Tenshin Reb Anderson in 2012. And we're so glad and blessed that she's part of our MIC community and so thrilled that you're with us tonight, Sonja, to offer your gift to us. Thank you for taking the time to be with us and to join us tonight.
Thank you so much, Scott, for that generous introduction. And thank you to MIC and Esmeralda, who kept me on track. And for all of those that have come to support this gathering tonight. Let me see, I'm going to try to get this little transcription thing off. And I appreciate this collaborative effort that MIC has of gathering all people from these different faith traditions and welcoming and joining each other. And as you notice, when I started, I brought my hands together and bowed toward you. And this bringing the hands together is kind of not two, not one. And and to all of you, I say welcome and thank you for coming. And I have a lot of gratitude. And I think that almost could be the entire talk for the evening. Every morning when you get up, it could be good morning, welcome, thank you. You meet your friends, you have a meal. Before you sit on your chair or your cushion, we bow and bring welcome, gratitude, and thank you. And one of the things that I've been introduced to is more common is also to recognize the land on which we are all resting. And all of that land that supports us and all that came before us. In this case, the indigenous people that took care of this land. And then each of us in our own traditions have a whole lineage that brought us to this moment. So all of us here came as singular ones. Now we're all together as little our tiles on the screen. And pretty soon we'll be sitting together as one, each in our own space. So this idea of non-duality, that we are actually not one and not two, and that this sitting together is an expression of that not one and not two. And bringing our hands together is not one and not two. And part of what I feel is, and tonight I was dedicating this talk, we'll see how this goes, to our posture and how we are carrying ourselves in the world, because our posture is a communication. And posture is one of the things that in our sitting, we really devote some attention to and tending to the body. So one way we think, sometimes we might think, I don't know that I might think I have a mind and my mind is confused as if it's separate from this body. But when we sit, or there's a possibility when we sit and we get very still, that this mind and this body can become upright and connected and one, so that every gesture we make becomes something of what we might breathe in is our intention. For me, that idea of how we use our mind and our language and intention sets the way that we will carry ourselves forward in the next moment. So our values and our attitudes are represented in our posture. And our posture can be, all of our postures can be a part of healing or connecting. So one way we could think of that as connecting is if you have a time when you're kind of open in your heart, your hands might be open. When you meet somebody, you have the possibility of visually or energetically connecting with them. And interestingly, many years back, I discovered that the word posture and attitude have a similar etymology. So our attitude is reflected in our posture, and our posture reflects our attitude. And I also remembered that in sailing, I believe the boat on the water, the attitude reflects, if they're reporting, is which way it's leaning, the degree to which it's leaning. I'm not a sailor, but anyway, the degree to which it's leaning. So how you're upright or leaning matters. If you're slumping, that is a communication. So if you're a little bit too up, that's a communication. So what is it to be balanced and just upright? So in the Zen tradition, our meditation is called Zazen, or sitting meditation, sitting Zen. It's a samadhi, and it is actually, the sitting is considered the heart of the Japanese tradition. And maybe we could say the aim of the sitting is that it's a moment of suspending all judgment and all thinking, and letting words, some ideas and images and thoughts pass without getting involved in them. So the question is, how do you do that? And what can we do to get ourselves settled? So I'm just want to speak a little bit about getting settled, and so we can go into the sitting for a little bit and then see what you notice on the other side when we come together. So one of the things you can do, whether you're in a chair or on the floor, I'm guessing most of you are in a chair, is take your hands and just, you might see me doing this, you just kind of lift yourself up just a little bit. So when you come down, you're on your sit bones, so that your spine is supporting you. And when you're on your sit bones and your pelvis is tilted just a little bit forward, it also opens the chest. So what to do with your hands? So I'll give you the what to do with your hands the way we do it, but some people they sit like this, or they sit with their hands up on your, or just on your resting on your thighs. But tonight I'll show you what we call the cosmic mudra. So you can take your right hand and it's going to hold your left hand. And I'm going to turn this up like this so you can kind of see what I'm doing. And it's actually, the shape of it is kind of like a little diving mask. I see you. Yeah. And then we're going to take that and bring it down so that your fingers are just below your navel. And you keep that oval like this, and your thumb tips are lightly touching. Now, in order to actually keep that oval and to keep the thumb tips slightly touching, sometimes if you get too much thinking and you get too stressed, you get what I call the steeple mudra, because there's a little tension in there. Or if you get too sleepy or too relaxed, you get what I call, it's hard for me to do, but the fallen heart mudra. I just made those up. There's no text on that. But anyway, so you want to keep those thumb tips lightly touching and keep that oval. And what is the importance of that? Well, first of all, there's some alertness that's in that. And it's a way, if you're starting to get distracted, that you can come back to this sensation of what's happening at the center of your body. Another aspect in sitting and presence and working towards leaving things be or letting them go is taking the tip of your tongue and putting it at the roof of your mouth and your lips closed, and then you're breathing gently through your nose. And some people start by counting breath, breathing in, and then following that, and then breathing out all the way to the bottom where you're holding this cosmic mudra. And then as you get very still, you have the possibility of feeling the place where the breath wants to turn around toward an in-breath. There's actually a little space in there if you don't take the next breath, but allow the next breath. And as we sit in more and more stillness, there's a possibility to sit with yourself in this appreciation. And especially when we sit with others, there's a sense of connecting with others. And as we use this mudra that looks like this, we have a possibility to gather some stillness and some presence in the midst of the stories and the imaginations. So sometimes people count breath, and one way is to count to 10, breathing in, 1, letting it go, breathing in, 2. Another way, and if you get lost before 10, just start over again, because this is practicing with no gaining idea. I myself noticed that I could get to 3 before I got lost. And then I realized if I counted to 3 times, that was almost 10. So it's just a way of tracking. In every here, there's a now. In every now, there's a here. Are you here now for whatever it is your sense gates are gathering? So finding this place of stillness, it takes time. If any of you have done any sports or music or dance, you know that you didn't just start out at the very beginning of the pliés and then got on stage to do the whole ballet. So it's one breath at a time. Get lost, come back, get lost, come back. So I'm just looking at the time, so I'm going to ring a bell, and that's just another way of opening a particular sense gate to give yourself a clue to go in and settle. In this particular tradition, we don't do eyes closed, but you can. It's eyes kind of resting at 45 degrees because we're not closing ourselves to the world. But also we're not out there gathering data. So just a soft gaze, 45 degrees, and then following your breath. Okay. Noticing that keeping the tongue at the roof of your mouth, kind of lifting up back to your head. And just see if you can be present. I'm going to ring the bell, and I'll also try just some softly to offer some words in the middle. But you don't have to remember anything. You just sit. Keep your chin tucked in. Nothing to gain, nothing to do. Just now showing up. And then I'll ring the bell once to end. Breathing in your best intention of healing the world. Breathing out, just let it go. Breathing in, you feed your lungs the blood, your nervous system, your immune system, muscles, tendons. Breathing out your intention. Sitting upright and attentive. This posture helps you keep your awareness on the here now body. Secret Zazen. Does not lie in the awareness, your inhalation or exhalation, but the gap between your breaths. The gap between two thoughts. This gap between the two thoughts are best friends, and in this silence, the space is revealed. Breathing in, not dwelling in body, mind. Breathing out, not involved in your thoughts. Breathing in. What matters to you is what you do. Breathing out. What you do matters. Our posture, upright, open, in the world, in our life, daily, in every moment, is a transmission of your intention. What matters to you is what you do, and what you do matters. Practicing Zazen is to sit with yourself and to appreciate our connection with all life. Welcome. One thing I wanted to say early on, and this expression of bringing our hands together, this not one, not two. One way I've heard it expressed as one hand is wisdom, and the other hand is compassion. So you've got these two things, but when we bring them together, this here right in front of our heart, that has possibility. And as we were sitting, I realized, of course, we have one hand is wisdom and one hand is compassion. In the way I'm gesturing right now, my right hand is the wisdom, and it's holding compassion, and it's resting on its right palm. So they're together. So as we're breathing and carrying these things right down to our center, breathing in and breathing out, one way to think of that non-duality is bringing wisdom and compassion in the midst of whatever we're doing. And you need to unpack those words. What that, it doesn't mean smart, but it might mean an appropriate response in a given moment. That would be wise. So I think finding ways to gesture, to use your body as an expression of what's important, or have that somehow come out of your mouth is what changes. Well, first of all, you change. And then if you change, it might help others to change if they want to. But then there's this other thing called cultivating vast compassion and patience. So I realized that we kind of, the beginning got a little tight. And so I talked a little bit, maybe too much during the meditation. I'm not sure how that was for you. My aim is a little bit to give information, and hopefully something came in as inspiration. And that you might even just do it in the morning for 1 minute when you get up. It doesn't have to be 40 minutes, but 1 minute of remembering, pretty good. 1 penny in a jar every day, pretty soon you got a whole jar of pennies. So if there's something that could activate in you, that you feel you could weave into whatever your own faith practice is, that this might have some affinity for, might gather some momentum. Anyway, I'm wondering what worked and what didn't work, or how you noticed your mind. I might have given too many words to get stillness. Or did anything particularly register?
And Esmeralda, if you go ahead and pause,